SEC fans, welcome to opening week and welcome to Best of the West. I'm Kevin Bohannon, your host, and my co-host is Jake Thomas. Jake, how we doing, bub?
Man, I'm doing great. It's football week, baby.
It,
It's here. It's finally here.
it's like we've been waiting forever, and we've got some great stuff for you tonight. We're going to talk about matchups this week, what we think is going to happen, tailgating tips, surprises, letdowns. We're going to cover the basis. But yeah, it's game week. We got stadiums that are going to be packed across the nation. I know we started last week, but you can't throw me one Big Ten game and call it opening week. I'm sorry. I know. Congratulations to Brett Bielema and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Scott Frost is even more on the hot seat now. I think you'll agree with me on that.
Yeah, he's in
He,
trouble.
he came out and said today or yesterday, we had to throw out half of our game plan once we saw what they were lined up in.
What?
Yeah, and he said it to the media. Okay, so having coached not on that level, I didn't play on Scott Frost level. I don't have a national title. I have a state baseball title, and we were terrible in football. But there's a way to spin that to where you aren't saying, well, we're inept as coaches. What you come out and say is, look, they gave us some problems from the beginning. We have to do a better job of preparing our players to overcome that.
Yeah, you say, they come out, strong in the first half. We made adjustments at halftime, and we tried to change our game plan up a little bit to get back in the game, and they did get back in it until in the fourth quarter where they just couldn't put one good drive together to make it a game.
Oh yeah, it just blew my mind when I saw that, and I was like, they're going to fire him before week 2. I just don't get it. Fans in Nebraska, they're kind of like Arkansas fans. They had a lot of success, especially under Tom Osborne. I was a real big Nebraska fan. I even had a Tommy Frazier jersey back in the mid '90s. I wore the number 15. Yeah, he
Oh,
was
really?
really impressive, playing through the blood clots and everything, winning national titles. It was a thing to behold. So, yeah, all our Husker fans out there, best of luck to y'all. I don't see anything getting any better for you. So, yeah, it's game week, Jake. It's game week. So let's talk about you're going to a game. Going to a game. You're tailgating. Let's get some really good tailgating tips for you as a host, and if you walk up on it, whether you're at the Grove, Death Valley, Fayetteville, Tuscaloosa, on the plains, doesn't matter where you're at. Let's hear some of your top tailgating tips.
First off, I apologize. My mic has come undone from my desk and has fallen on the floor. So,
You're still good.
can y'all still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but anyway, yeah. Tailgating tips. Uh, it's all about location for me. You like in Alabama, you got to be on the quad.
Yep.
You got to be right there, interact with everybody. You got to have that grill going 24. You got to have everything on that grill cooking. And everything, and interact with other Tide fans, or who if you're on the Grove, Ole Miss fans. But
Yeah.
it's all about the communion and and meeting other fans. For me,
Oh, no doubt. How many other SEC West schools have you tailgated at?
none.
None.
I've only been to two stadiums in my lifetime. That is, of course, to Bryant Denny, and I went to the old Legion Field and watched the game there one time. So,
What year did you go to Legion Field?
oh gosh, I was a kid, so I think it was in the late '90s.
Late '90s.
Yeah.
I was graduating high school, you young buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have gotten to experience the Grove at Ole Miss. Death Valley was something else. Mississippi State, Starkville, there wasn't a whole lot there. That was 2002. We went down there with the chance to go into the SEC championship game and almost let a very bad Mississippi State team beat us. But luckily, Matt Jones There you go, Stephen. Matt Jones came back and won it for us. So the big thing is, and you talked about getting a spot, so show up early. That's a no brainer. Nobody likes the Johnny Come Lately to where you show up, drink everybody's beer, alcohol, uh, Coke, the Coca Cola, Sprite, Dr Pepper, doesn't matter, and eat the food. You want to have somebody there early. Don't leave it up to one person. Show your appreciation for it. Um, Tailgating has gotten next level now. It used to be you showed up for a game, tailgate, and then went into the game. Well, now you have TVs, you have 70-inch screens, plasmas, speakers, and everything. So if you're out there for the ambiance and the experience of it, make sure you have the setup too with the generator. Okay, big thing: pop up trash can.
That's
Nobody
true.
likes a messy tailgater, so make sure you got a pop up trash can. Um, and if you're hosting it and you want to make sure that you're taking care of your guests, bring some swags. Bring a foam finger. It doesn't have to be a Nike embroidered shirt, collared polo. It doesn't have to be any of that. Make sure you got plenty of games, whether it be Bago. I don't know what you call it in Tuscaloosa. I call it Bago cornhole.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, we it's cornhole around here for
Yeah,
sure.
cornhole. So
Yeah,
yeah, and especially right now, the number one thing to bring to a tailgate in the South, bring a fan because it's going to be hot.
yeah, it's incredibly hot right now. But yeah, I actually have a cousin who tailgates at every Alabama game. So when we do get a chance to go down there, we hang out with him. And he's got it all set up. He's got like I think it's like a 55-inch TV set up with streaming other ball games where he's sitting there watching. And, like you said, you know drink Dr Pepper and all that, but we drink beer and other stuff
Yeah.
around there. So
Oh yeah.
everybody does have their own little thing, but yeah, it's fun to tailgate. But there's
The oh,
nothing. I was going to say there's nothing like it, especially when it comes to a like a rivalry game, because we went and tailgated a few years ago for the Tennessee game, and that's a big rivalry for Alabama. Hasn't been much here lately,
yeah.
but we was all out there when the when the Tennessee bus come by, and we were just dogging them, So it
Oh
was
yeah.
fun to do that.
We used to, of course, Arkansas played their games at War Memorial Stadium. They used to have 2, 3 games a year, and LSU was always one that was a conference game that we played at the end of the year. 2011 comes to mind, where we won our game, went to the Cotton Bowl. The year before that, 2010. 2010 is when we beat them and went to the BCS. 2011 was the Alabama game where the 9-6 where y'all played each other again in the
Yeah.
national championship. So, yeah, those were always fun and bring back some good memories. So yeah, make sure if you need some tailgating tips, make sure you hit us up. We'll be more than happy to hook you up. So we want
Absolutely.
to talk about some surprises and letdowns, and this can bleed over into the SEC East as well. But what are some of the things, Jake, that you've seen that have surprised you so far, that's lifted your spirits a little bit?
Well, coming out of Alabama's camp, that defense is like it's been booked to be. It looks dominant.
Yeah.
Christian Harris come out today and said that the defense looks stronger and faster than at any point it did last season. So I'm not really surprised by that, but it's good to see that. My only concern, of course, uh, is Pete Golding the correct defense coordinator for this type defense, and we're going to find out this year. Just for the fact that he's got all the tools to be a top 10 defense. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got it right here this year with all the talent coming back. But it remains to be seen. I'm going to give him another year, which is this year, to prove himself. And who
Yep.
knows, he might do it. But other than that, you have Haynes King, winning the
At A&M.
exam.
Yep.
Yeah. So congratulations to him. Boy, he's as a true freshman, I know he's going to be at home, but you still got to play Alabama, and that's going to, how's he going to handle that pressure? So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about last week was having Isaiah Spiller back there in the backfield with you as the perfect backfield mate. That's a first team All SEC, got some All American preseason honors as well. And then I think the line is going to be big for him. Of course, Texas A&M is always going to have playmakers. A lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
pundits, national media, have picked Texas A&M. I know even our local sports writer Wally Hall said that this is Alabama's year to maybe have a letdown, just because the offense lost so much, and thinks that Texas A&M could be right there, maybe at the end. We've talked about it back and forth that they're definitely Alabama we think is number one, and Texas A&M has that clear number two mark, and then three is up in the air with Ole Miss and LSU. So I think Ole Miss, I think, has stood. Lane Kiffin, I think, has come in with a renewed focus. I think that's the big thing. You haven't seen the stories out of Ole Miss, and yeah, I mean, you see some of the stuff, but that's just who Lane Kiffin is. He's a little carefree, but I think they're a little bit more on a business trip for 12 straight weeks this year.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to see this Ole Miss offense. To be
Yeah,
honest, I know they're gonna give Alabama fits. I'm just thankful that that game is in Tuscaloosa, because if it was at Ole Miss, I would be kind of concerned. But then again, if this defense lives up to the hype that I've been hyping it up, and what others have said about it, I mean, Ole Miss is going to score some points, but I don't. The defense got to step up eventually. So I mean, it could be
yeah,
this
and
year.
yes, Steven and I talked about when we did the Arkansas preview, and we probably mentioned it on this show that if Ole Miss has a top 60 defense, you're
Oh
having a
yeah,
10-win season. So
absolutely,
uh,
hands
let's see
down.
if they can actually do that this year. And I'm really excited. My boy Jerry and Ely's finally healthy. He didn't play baseball. Of course, he was recovering from the injury last fall, but he's such a dynamic back, such a dynamic athlete. I remember watching him play baseball, and they said, "Oh yeah, he's going to play football too." And I said, "Wow, really?" And then I figured he was just as good as football as he was baseball. He turned down millions of dollars. That's what some people don't know. If you're not an Ole Miss fan, he could have been a top 2-3 round draft pick coming out of high school. He was that good. So
Dang.
seeing him on the field this year, I know a lot of Ole Miss fans with Matt Corral. They're like, doesn't matter what you game plan for, we're going to take it to you. So some things out of the Arkansas camp this week. We've had the injury bug hit a little bit. Traylon Smith finally came back last week. He had turf toe. He's back. I'm not really sure if he's 100%, but we've had some freshmen step up. Rocket Sanders being one of those. Uh, Talked to Trey Biddy, who covers Hog. He's a publisher for hogsports.com, part of the 24/7 network. He said that by the end of the year, he thinks Rocket Sanders could get a lot of carries and the most carries on the
Hmm.
team. So be interesting to see what happens there. The wide receiving core, you've had some freshmen step up there, so that's been really good. But the biggest thing that's been positive so far for the Arkansas Razorbacks is they finally look like an SEC team. You got offensive linemen that are over 300 pounds. You got some big physical receivers. You got fast uh, backs. You got some backs with size that can move the line a little bit. Third and short was terrible for us last year, both sides of the ball. And I think Coach Pittman and his staff have done a really good job on the offensive side. Of course, anybody knows Sam Pittman knows his background in offensive lineman. All those guys are over 300 pounds. You got really good, agile, big bodies up there that can move a defensive line. So that's really good. Uh, don't expect Traylon Burks to play this week. I don't know if SEC fans have been paying too much attention to that, but he's been out for the last week or two. I think he will be ready by Texas week, which is where we really need him
Yeah.
going into conference play. Uh, then the defensive side of the ball, you got big guys up front. John Ridgeland transferred from a directional Illinois school. Then you got Markel Utzi and Trey Williams from Missouri. Those guys are projected starters on the defensive line. You got Grant Morgan back, who's a preseason All-American, Butkus, watch list, everything. And then our D-backs, you don't have many guys back there that are 5'10", 5'11", 185. You got 6'1", 195 guys that can lay the wood when they need to and can be really good on ball defenders. We saw last year Arkansas had too many three man fronts.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be able to run some 4-man fronts this year. I think we'll be able to play more man to man than a drop 8. I know Matt Corral's excited about that, and I know Steven is as well. So, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it'll be really good that we'll be able to disguise it a little bit better than just rush 3, drop 8, and that's the biggest thing. Letdowns. Let's talk about the school that's in your state
Hmm.
that seems to have a coach that can't get out of his own way right now, and Brian Harson. He's been out of practice. He's been in the COVID protocol. I think he tested positive. We hope he does, have a good recovery from that. But
Yes.
how he's handled this whole situation just baffles me. You run a coach out of town, Gus Malzahn, and I'm kind of partial to Gus. He's from Arkansas. I got to know him, consider him kind of a mentor of mine when I was coaching. But Harson just looks like he's not ready for the job.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big time program too down there on the plains because I mean you are looking up to Alabama and your expectation and I say this a lot and it's actually true. And I've, like I said, I have a brother-in-law who's a big-time Auburn guy. But I've told him, I said, y'all's Super Bowl, y'all's national championship is beating Alabama,
Yeah.
while Alabama's is winning a national championship. He said, yes, but nothing's going. That's what it's going to be. I said, that's why that mentality is the reason why you never I'm not going to say you won't never be back in the national championship game, but you can't have that mentality. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to beat your rival, but you got to step up and want to take that next step and be in the national championship. But Title Town, as I call it, getting to the national championship game, you got to go through Tuscaloosa. So you've got to beat Alabama first and foremost. But yeah, Harson, I hope he does well through his recovery. I was concerned about the hire just for the fact that, yeah, he can recruit Idaho, Montana, places
Yeah.
like that. Well, I don't think he's going to be able to recruit in,
The South.
the South. I mean, Florida, you got to go to Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama. I mean, he's gotten a couple of 4 stars that they have snagged since he's been there. But what he really thrived on was he brought in coaches that had done that in the past.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I think they're going to struggle. I almost in my SEC West predictions last week that we did, I almost put them below Arkansas,
Yeah.
but I just think talent wise, they've got more talent than Arkansas at the moment.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah,
They've recruited talent. They've
yeah,
had back-to-back-to-back years where they've had higher recruiting classes.
mhm.
Now, can they develop it? Now, there's still
Right.
a problem because Bo Nix is still in the middle of the pack as far as SEC quarterbacks. And you've got so many first-year starters this year. What's wrong with him? I mean,
I
Patrick
don't
Nix,
know.
his dad, he was an average SEC quarterback. Yeah, he had a good career. But Bo Nix was the second coming of Christ if you talk to anybody on the plains.
Yeah, yeah. I think all of his is mental.
Yeah,
He's got. I mean, he had that big freshman year where he beat Alabama, and I think that hype got to him because last year, his sophomore year, he regressed.
yeah,
He's got to take that next step this year if Auburn's going to have any chance. Now, I will say for him, just hand the ball to Tank Bigsby.
yeah.
I
Do
mean,
it
that
40
dude.
times a game.
Yeah, I mean, let it do it. I mean, if Auburn's going to win this year, you've got to rely on that because, like you said, you got him who you got Bo Nix, but you also got a lot of new wide receivers as well coming in.
Yeah,
So it's going to take a while for them to gel and get timing down. And Bo Nix's timing was not that great last year.
yeah.
Just hand it to Tank, let him run over me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what the offense looks like Their defense is going to be able to stop the run.
Right.
They'll be okay against the pass. But what is the offense going to look like? Is it going to be wide open? Is it going to be more pro style? I think it'll be more pro style based on what I've seen in the past from him.
Mm-hmm.
Harsin was at Arkansas State, and they threw the ball all over the place. That was with Anderson as his OC before
Yeah.
he moved up to head coach. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Auburn. South Carolina named their starting quarterback, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a graduate assistant that came over, and they pulled him into the quarterback room. He's a sixth-year player or coach player now. Zeb Nolan. It will be the starter for the South Carolina Gamecocks coming in because Luke Doty's hurt.
Yeah.
How did they get in that situation?
I don't know. And you can go back on one of the Beasts
West
of the
Chance
East.
recruiting is what it was.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You can go back on a recent episode, past episode of Beasts of the East, that I actually was in the chat, and I felt like South Carolina under Beamer potentially had the chance to win 6 games, with that schedule. I mean, they got easy schedules. The kicker was going to be, can they beat Kentucky? I didn't think they could, so I had them at 5-7.
Yeah.
Now they're going to go like 2-10, if that. If they, I mean, no offense, no, not ragging the guy, but
Yeah.
dang, it's like they pulled, a couple years ago when Alabama couldn't find a kicker. It was like, just go find somebody out of the stands and put him at kicker and see what he can do. This is what
Yeah.
they did. They grabbed a guy out of the stands like, hey, can you throw a football? A little bit. All right, well here, you're the starter. So they got problems, and Beamer's going to have to find something that's a formula or something quick to help him out.
Yeah, that'll be real interesting to see. Arkansas has been in that situation. I think 2000, they went and got John Paul Rutledge off the intramural fields, and he had to fill in for a game when Robbie Hampton, Zach Clark, everybody got hurt. So it's it's very very interesting to see
Mm-hmm.
uh, not even a walk on get out there. So let's move on to the betting lines and our podcast and every podcast part of the Believe podcast network is sponsored by betonline.ag. It's college football opening week, so head on over to betonline.ag, get your picks in. And disclaimer before we throw our picks out there, we are not betting professionals. We are not offering any advice. This is not a paid for service. We're just offering our opinions based on what Vegas thinks the number should be, and it's for fun. So take it for what it is. We'll go through the whole SEC right here because I'd like to get your thoughts on some of these too, because we have some cross divisional opponents that we share and play this year, so it'll be really interesting to see. Start out Thursday, Bowling Green at Tennessee. Right now it's Tennessee minus 35.5. Do you believe they cover? And the over under is 61.5.
No, I don't think Tennessee. I don't think they reached that 61.5 at all. And
Yeah,
I don't think they beat Bowling Green. And I don't know how bad Bowling Green is, but I know how bad Tennessee is. It's
yeah.
a freaking dumpster fire. No offense, Ding, Craig. But yeah, it's a dumpster fire right now. Joe Melton? Is their quarterback Joe Milton? Joe Melton's
I
like
think
that.
so. I
Yeah,
don't know. They've had like 7 of them.
I know. So I think it's going to be less than that 35.5 you said.
Yeah, it's 35.5. I'm with you. I think Bowling Green covers and it's the under, so it'll
Yeah.
be and of course it's at Knoxville. Next game is Louisiana Monroe at Kentucky. Kentucky's a 31-point favorite with the over and under at 54.5. I think Kentucky covers this number, and I would put it conservatively at the over right now. I think Kentucky schedule sets up for them very nicely. If Arkansas has the toughest schedule in the nation, I think Kentucky has one of the easiest with the way everything sets up for them. I've seen some prognosticators have them at 9-3, and even some crazy folks out there have them at 10-2, just because it's that easy for them. So Yeah, Kentucky minus 31. What do you think, Jake?
I'll take the over.
Yeah,
I'm actually one of those that's kind of high on Kentucky. I think they'll finish second in the East this year.
there you
I
go.
I think that they do. I think they do beat Florida, but they lose by a field goal, a late field goal to Georgia.
Yeah, it's been crazy the last few years with Kentucky and Florida. How it's really kind of been a coin flip,
I
and
know.
I blame that on Dan Mullen. All
Blame
right,
everybody on him.
Rice at Arkansas. It started out around 21 points. It's down to 19 and a half, with the total at 50 and a half. What are your thoughts, Jake?
I take the over. I don't know much about Rice. I think they used to, they still may do run like a spread type offense where they
They're
pass it a lot.
terrible.
Yeah, I know they're terrible, and I'm still high on Arkansas this year,
Yeah.
so I'm taking the over on that.
So, and I'll give mine. I said 31-17 or 34-17, I think, in our Hog Talk podcast group, with my co-host Porter and Kyle. So I think we're right at it. I don't think we're just because of Traylon Burks not playing, and one guy shouldn't make a difference, but he's worth 4 points on average. I think if he's out there, and then if I had a gun to my head, I say it's under that as well, just because of what we had last year. We weren't very dynamic, but a lot of people have us averaging right around 30 and giving up 27. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, the big one of the week, the U versus Roll Tide. Alabama's an 18.5 point favorite. The total points is 62. I'm going Alabama will cover that, and they'll go over the 62.
Uh, I'm still saying over. Alabama's going to win by 30. I'm just telling you. I think it's.
That a boy.
I mean, I I know we got some questions to be answered. I
Yeah,
think we answered on that field Saturday night. I think
yeah,
Bryce Young is going to solidify himself. Is going to doubt, calm, shut up a lot of naysayers, and but we'll see. But offensively, I think we're going to be fine. It may take us some time, a series or two.
yeah.
There's Steven. He did his prediction, but I think I'm saying like 42-10.
42-10.
42-10, 48-10.
There you go. Yeah, that keeps you under, but it keeps you covering for sure. All
Mm-hmm.
right, Central Michigan at Missouri. This is kind of an intriguing matchup. Central Michigan over the years, of course, Dan Orlovsky, the ESPN analyst. That's where he's from. Played quarterback there. Missouri is 14.5 point favorite. Total is 60.5. I think Missouri covers and they go over just because Missouri really can't stop anybody. Hell, we scored 50 on them last year. And Connor Bazelak, I'm really high on that kid. That kid can sling a football. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree 100% with you. I like Basilak. I think he's going to be really really good. But as you mentioned, Missouri could not stop anybody last year.
Yeah,
And was it? I don't think it was last year. It might have been a few years ago. I remember they played like Eastern Missouri or something, and Eastern Missouri scored like 50 something or 60 something on them. So I
yeah,
mean, they've always had a terrible time stopping people. But a lot of people actually have Missouri being second this year in the East. So I
yeah,
just don't
yeah.
I just don't see it
Uh,
because they can't
the
stop
the
anybody.
professor Eli Drink.
Hmm.
It's gonna be he's a really good offensive mind. I like Drink. I'm glad he's not at Arkansas though. So, moving on to Stark Vegas, Louisiana Tech comes into town. The Techsters, the Bulldogs against the Bulldogs. Mississippi State's a 23.5 point favorite, and the total is 52.5. I don't think they cover, and I don't think they go over. I still think
Uh,
Leach is trying to find his identity on the offense, honestly.
yeah, I think this. What time is that game? It's like
I don't have the time right here. I think it's mid afternoon.
that's a good sleeping time right before the Bama game. That's probably what I'll be doing. No, it's
Yeah,
3 o'clock. Steven said so. Never mind. That's I'll be watching the Bama game then. 'Cause I have no interest in this game
yeah.
whatsoever.
Akron at Auburn. Auburn's 36.5. Total's 55. I think last week you and I both agreed that they wouldn't cover.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they do.
Yeah. Florida Atlantic at Florida. Florida's a 23.5 point favorite, and the total's 52. I do think Florida covers and goes over.
Yeah, that's kind of low to me.
I do, yeah.
So
Emory
Florida
Jones.
Atlantic.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic, FAU, the Owls.
Hmm. I mean, Lane Kiffin's not there no more, so I don't know what they got.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see the Emory Jones show, and that they've got another quarterback there too, that's making
Really
some
talented.
waves that they might have some packages for. So that's going to be interesting. The top 10 matchup of the week: Georgia and Clemson. Clemson comes in right now as a 3 point favorite, 51.5. I did get some inside information the other day from a good friend of mine. I'll read it here real quick. He says that Georgia's too beat up. And that's the big thing right now that he's having an issue with, and he doesn't think they can win. And I take him at his word. He's there. He knows what's going on. So I think Clemson covers. I don't think they get the over though.
I actually picked Georgia just for
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go in and tell your guys, we're beat up, we're banged up, we're going to lose this game. So
yeah,
I know that's not the mentality going into the game. I think as of right now, Georgia's in a better position at quarterback than Clemson is. I mean, whatever that other, I cannot say his name, the quarterback, DJ, I'll just call him.
yeah.
He's probably going to be really good, but JT Daniels, when he come in last year for Georgia, that offense finally clicked. I
Right.
know they're going to be missing some weapons offensively, but they still got him in his arm. I think they're going to pull. I don't really want to call it an upset because they're ranked number 5, and I think Clemson's 3.
3. Yeah.
So not really an upset, but that's what everybody's making it out to be if it happens. So I just think Georgia wins this overall.
Yep. Kent State, Texas A&M. A&M's a 29.5 point favorite. I think they cover that, but I think they are under the 67.5. I think you're looking at a 49-14, 49-10 game.
I agree 100% with that.
Okay. LSU goes out to the left coast. They're playing at UCLA. LSU's a 3 point favorite with a total of 66. Chip Kelly's on the hot seat. Has to get it done this year for the Bruins. I do think LSU covers this. I don't think they get to 66 points, though.
I've been waiting on you to call this game.
Yeah.
I watched every second of that game, UCLA's games, Saturday.
Yeah.
And you can go back. I think I said it on here. I was kind of interested to see how they're going to play against Hawaii. Hawaii is absolute garbage. I've not seen. I mean, they're awful.
They're a dumpster fire.
So I'm more interested to see what the line would be against Hawaii versus Tennessee. But anyway, back to this. Okay, my issue with this is I think LSU dominates UCLA, and here's why. They averaged 200. They had 252 yards rushing roundabout. I know it's against Hawaii, but you're not going to rush for 252 yards against LSU.
No.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Alabama. I don't care if you're Tennessee, Georgia. I don't care. You're not doing that against an SEC school.
Yeah.
And LSU's got a really good defense.
And they don't have guys opting out this year.
Exactly. And the other thing is your quarterback their quarterback, Dorian Thompson Robins, 10 of 20 for 130 yards. You've got to pass against LSU to win.
And if you're only 50% against Hawaii, good luck. Yeah. Against Derek Stingley Jr., the top D back in the draft.
I think LSU's fixing to roll UCLA.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then we got Monday Night Football in the SEC this week as Louisville, the Cardinals, they go to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 10.5 point favorite. I think you double that. Ole Miss wins by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say that's a little low on my end. LSU is going to get it rolling early. I'm more interested in this game to see how the defense looks. I know all about their offense.
Yeah, the 75.5 points. If you get to if you get to that, you have problems. because that means Louisville put up more points than what they should have.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, those are our picks for the week. We're hoping to get through a weekend with no hurricanes, no cancellations. I think right now everything's good to go as far as COVID protocol and everything. So, Jake, you got anything else for us?
Man, I'm just excited it's here, and let's get it rolling. Let's get the rest of this week going by, man. I'm excited for football. Let's bring
Yeah.
it on.
SEC fans, hope you have a great opening week. I want to wish my wife a happy 40th birthday. She turns 40 on Thursday this week, so
Happy
we're going to have a
birthday.
little, hopefully, a little get together this weekend. But everybody, stay out there, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for joining us, the Best of the West. I want to thank Willis Media, and we'll see you next week on Best of the West.